We gapped up and failed, and then we tried to rally again and failed. So we have 10 minutes. The opening orders are done, and we have yet to be able to hold any kind of up move. And we're pinned under the 20. So we have 2 poke throughs at the 20. The trend yesterday was down. The 200's down here. We're unable to mount any kind of charge after the first 10 minutes are out of the way. So why would you buy that? Again, I'm not saying I would enter either way, but if I made you do it, the odds say what? The odds say the next move is probably going lower, at least to check that 8, or at least to see if we're going to poke through prior day's close and then hold, right? All right, so there's the next move. Down it goes. Okay, now that we're here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars down into the prior pivot near the 200. If I made you take a trade right this second, I'm not saying you have to. If I said you have to enter right now, you should try a buy. Absolutely, you should try a buy right here, right now. You should try a buy setup. Yes. And it didn't work. Okay, but that would have been the thought process. I would not have shorted that. And again, the right play would have been, let's see if it does a down and through at the 200. Let's see if it does a down and through at the pivot. We wouldn't have literally just bought the close of the red bar. We would have looked for this to go lower and then pop off the 200, or go lower and then pop off the pivot. Okay, but it's not a good short at that moment. I don't care that this bar followed through. That is a terrible idea to short that bar. Okay? But Dr. Dan, I got 2 follow through, but I don't care. So what would have happened is this. Had you been short and you hit this level, you should have taken some profit. And then your break even could have been on a bar by bar, or it could have been on the 8MA, or it could have been break even. It could have been wherever it wanted to be. All right? And then you got this big fat follow through profit. And you're like, wow, home run time. Where should your stop be? Number one, at this point, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 7 bars down. What is the most likely direction of the next bar? Right. The most likely, this is not a guarantee, the most likely direction of the next bar is up. We're way away from the MA. So your trail method should be 5-minute bar, maybe 5-minute 8 if you wanted to get, it's about as loose as I would get. I certainly wouldn't be on break even anymore. So you're kind of looking at this prior pivot, right? That's not a bad retest area. Okay, so it broke the low. So now if we draw our market cycle out, drop, what should we do now? Rally, and if it's a trend, what should we do? That. So if this is what should happen on a trend, should we be shorting right now? Even if the next bar opens and goes through the low, should we be shorting now? No. We should be shorting after that happened. Or sideways and then down. Ooh, that could be the sideways. So that's either going to be the GBI or it's going to be the narrow bar. So we're going to get what? We went down, we paused. We're either going to get GBI or pause, and we're going to get rally back for the next potential sell. That's a perfect bar. It's a little far from the MAs for me to want to do GBI, and it happened after an 8-bar move. So I'm probably not looking to do the GBI. Even if it triggered, I'm probably not looking to do that. I'm looking for this to be the reversal bar and a counter move back towards this pivot and the 200 and the 8. The 1/3 retracement. That's what I'd be looking for. There we go. All right, there you go. So you got your 1/3 retracement. You hit the 8MA. Is this a potential sell setup based on location, trend, time of day, all that good stuff? Yes, because you missed this one, right? You missed this. It went 2 extra bars further than you thought. So if you didn't do the opening trade and then you got to here, you're like, okay, that should bounce. And then you went, damn, and that went a little bit further than I thought. Okay, there's your counter. So it's either play the counter for the 1/3 or you had to wait for this moment. Now you have a valid short entry. Now you can take a short trade, but you don't chase this thing down here saying, it's trending and I missed it. Wait for the right setup. That's a beautiful sell setup. Look at that. Easy, clean. Now, where should we go? How far down should we get? Well, if it's a trend, we should probably end up down in here somewhere. Right? We should make a significant enough move past the low. If we barely go through the low and then start coming back up, it's going to look like a little double bottom, failures to go lower. It's not really a trend. So this should push down into about this area to look like it's trending. All right, now 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what? What's the most likely move on the next bar? Profits, yep. Break even, trail, maybe the 8MA trail. Maybe this bar's high because it's a big fat red bar at the end of a move. It's a big fat red bar at the end of a move. 4 bars down, second pivot down. Okay. I wouldn't be looking to short that. Up would be the most likely next move. Ooh, this looks awfully familiar. This looks familiar. Well, the extension is from the 20. It's not climactic, but look at where the 20 is. See, here's the subtlety, right? This entire drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this entire drop is away from the 20. So it's not a climactic move. The 8's making you think it's not extended, but in reality it is. Remember, power trends are more at this angle, 45. What's this angle at? Is that a 45? I mean, that's damn near vertical, right? So that's probably not going to last all day, right? The ones that go all day, those little 45-degree little sliders like this, and they just churn and churn and churn. When you start getting vertical like that, they're not going to go all day. Okay, so again, this same look we had here, right, on another leg down. So what's the most likely move from here? Up or down? Probably up. I would not do that GBI. No, it's too far from that 20. Ooh, but it got you on a GBI. Okay, so you didn't get along to trigger. That's fine. I wouldn't take that move, right? I would not do that short. But you didn't get your long to trigger either. And maybe you're not stopped out of your short yet because you were using the bar by bar. You're still in. Your 8MA caught up. So you could say, look, I'm going to go to the 8 because it's almost at this bar's high anyway. And you're just going to trail this out. And now if you were looking for the counter, you want one of two things to happen. You either want this to extend further or you want it to immediately reverse, meaning that the break of this was not significant and it immediately reverses. Where when this one broke, you got the follow through. So where should this go to continue that trend? It should give you a measured move, right? Here's the move into the GBI. We should get to about here somewhere. That would show us trend continuation. About here. Another scenario of possible GBI, right? So we're not getting follow. What's happening on this break right here? We're not getting any follow through yet. So now you definitely want to see this bar taken out, right? The one that triggered, this was the bar that broke the pivot and closed red, and now you're inside that. You need this next bar to trigger and take out that low. If it takes out the high, it's no follow through. Failed sell setup, correct. All right, so there's your 3-bar rally. Looks just like this into the 8. What should happen now? Should get a sell setup, right? That's what should happen. If it's going to trend, that's it. It should do what? Go like that. If it doesn't do that, if it goes like this, sets a higher low, now what? Trend's over. Trying to trigger. Triggered. It should do what? Come down here. Ah, there we go. That's what we want to see. There's our trend. So now we're at 1, 2, 3. Away from the 20, away from the 8. Little narrow looking bar with a little tail. My stop would, you could still use the 8M8 trail, right? Still be trailing the 8 if you want. You could use this big giant red bar as a stop if you want. But we are now 1, 2, 3, getting a 4th. What are the odds of getting a 4th? High or low? Low. Not near 0. That's not that hard, but it's lower odds than getting a pause or a little bit more of a reversal. So Garnett, what time yesterday did I call Nike for the reversal? This bar right here. This is why I got the email from Garnett. He's like, dude, how immediately it just like that. And then, so now what does that tell you? It tells you take the profits on your short for sure. And we were near a whole number, I think. I got to go back and look. We might have been. Okay. And then you can look for the higher low. You can look for market law 4. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. Hooking 8. Hooking 8. Uh-oh. But it's not rocket science, right? It's not like I just had to walk you through this, right? Like when I walk you through this and I make you think the way you're supposed to think, it's not that hard. Like when I guide your thoughts in the direction and the process you should be putting yourself through, like this is how I envision it when it's happening. This is what I'm saying to myself. This is what I'm looking for. So when you do it the right way, it doesn't become that difficult. Really, I mean, you guys all did this correctly. No, it's still going. All right, now let me ask you this. Is this a good sell setup? Right here. Is this a good sell setup? No, because what's happened? It's changed direction. We have changed direction. Rally, drop, drop. How do you only count 2 pivots? That's 3 pivots. And that's a higher low pivot. There's 1, 2, 3, higher low. So this is now what? This is now up move number 1. Right here. That's up move number 1. This is not a good sell setup. Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. See, you guys can do this. Like you just told me it's not a good sell setup. So then why would you short that? The only reason to short that is because you watched this whole trend and you didn't partake in any of it. So you're like, aha, now I'm going to get short. It's already done. Like it changed. It's over. Like that party has left town. You went to the concert the next day and thought you had a front row seat because when you got there, there was no one else there. You're like, yes, front row, center stage. There's nobody there, dude. Concert was yesterday. Concert was yesterday, man. What are you doing? That's awesome. And now we're just trending and trending and trending. And now this is a little sneaky right here. Let me go over the. Oh, Danny went too far. I want to cut off that bar right there. This one and this one. All right, here's where it gets a little dicey. Right now, this is also during. Look what time it is. This is why I hate lunch. All right, look what time it is. You're not in your afternoon, right? You're not in that 2:15, 2:30 window yet. You're still in lunch here. So if you draw this as the trend changing event, 1, pause, 2, kind of pause, 3, you're like, okay, we're going to reverse again, right? But it's lunchtime, you got to be a little careful. So what I would say is the same rules apply. Okay, if you think it's reversal and this is move 1 down, then what should it do? It should rally back up and then take out the low, or it should drop, go sideways, and then take out the low. That's what should happen if you're counting this as the next wave down after the 3 rally up. Okay. The other thing to look at is where was this thing consolidating before the breakdown? So if I back you all the way up to here, this is where it consolidated before the breakdown, right there. So where did it get stuck on the way back up? Same place. See it? Stuck at exactly the same place. And then it finally broke out. So where is it probably going to find that sideways issue? Right there again, right? That's probably going to be the same problematic area. So look what you're doing. You're trying to say, and I'm okay with you reading it this way, saying, look, this might be a breakdown. It might, because it's right on top of the same areas it was getting stuck in. So if it can break that, if this can consolidate and then a big red bar can crack that and take this out, you're right. Then you go back and say, okay, 1, consolidate, 2, maybe 3 gets me to the new low, the pivot low. Right? So you could be thinking right now, I'm under the 8, I'm under the 20, I'm sitting on support, this is resting and this just fell. This could break down. I'm okay with that thought. The minute that bar comes in, you got to rethink like, well, that's not down. What did that just do? That just reinforced that this held. So where it was trying to hold the first time, broke down, immediately reversed, held it, then broke above it, right? So it was support, it cracked, it was resistance, it cracked, now it's support again and holding. So now you got to let go of the idea that that's a down move. It's not. Now the up move is back on. Look at that. What should happen now? What should the next move be now? It should be sideways or down. Shouldn't just continue. That's a lower chance that it's just going to continue. It could, but that's the lower chance. So I would be protecting profits, and if I want to get long, I'd be looking for my sideways or my pullback. Wow, it pulled back. This is like magic. By the way, is that a nice 3 to 5 bar swing right there? Is that a nice clean looking 3 to 5 bars? Oh, that's just beautiful. So this thing's in play. Now where are we here? Right back to support. right back to pivot support. So if the 8's going to hook and trap it, break the sideways 20, that would be your target, that pivot. If the 8 hooks, we hold the 20, we break above the hooking 8, going higher. No! Say it isn't so. So this is why Garnett emailed me, because we left coaching here, and I said, guys, Nike's probably going to reverse off of this bar. And then we were done with our session. And then later the day, Nike's doing this, and he was like, how the hell did you what am I not seeing? I want to know how you did that. Because it was, this is like what Albert did to me that one time. When it literally stopped on that number and closed at the high after that, he's like, I don't get it. What am I missing? What am I missing? But you're not missing. You're not, right? So I walked you through my thought process all the way down, and I asked you if then scenarios at each level. And that's all I'm doing, guys. I'm not trying to peg one side the whole time and say it has to be down, it has to be down. No, we're leaning that way, but what does it need to do for me to confirm down? What does it need to do for me to confirm reverse? What does it need to do to confirm that? I don't care which way it's going to go. I don't have to be right on my bias. I have to know how to read the bias, and I have to read the change in bias. So each time you get to a point on the chart, you say, okay, where's it most likely to go next? What should it do if it's going to continue trend? What should it do if it's going to reverse trend? And what are the odds saying at this point? What's the most likely move next? Continuation, reversal, counter, then more continuation, or counter and then reversal? And you just have to know what it should do to confirm your thought. If your thought is one thing and it doesn't do that, that's the trigger that says get out, right? I'm reading it this way. It should do this next. Oh, shoot, it's not doing that. Bye-bye. I'm out. Not what did I do wrong? Why is it not? Am I wrong? Is the stock wrong? I don't understand what's happening. Who's wrong? Just get out. So that's the chess part of the game, right? You know what's supposed to happen. You know where and how it should happen. And so if it happens, you know you got the trade right. If it doesn't, something didn't go right. Either you read it wrong or the stock's not behaving. Either way, exit quickly. Stage left. Good lesson, huh? Yeah, I knew you were going to like this one, Garnet. That's why I told you just remind me tomorrow, because it was a great question. And when I looked at the chart, I started laughing. I'm like, did I think it was going to go back to part is closed? No, I didn't, honestly. I'm not going to tell you that. When I said Nike's going to reverse here, I did not say, and we're going all the way to 4 o'clock at the 200. I didn't think that. About in here. Like, it wouldn't have shocked me if the rest of the day it just kind of did this, but this caught fire at the second half. Notice the second open, too, right? When I tell you guys don't trade lunch, if you just came back around 2:30, 2:15, 2:30, you got to sit down right here. It's a pretty easy trade, right? I mean, look how easy that trade is. Simple. Look at this. If you sat down, even if you sat down right there, say that, what time is that bar? Let's look. Let's look. $2:45. All right, so where's 2:30? Here's 2:15, 2:30. All right, so we're a little early. We got to go back to the base. So you came and you were checking Nike after the fact because you're like, yeah, he said this at lunch. He's usually pretty good. Let me check and see what he's doing. So you sit down at 2:30, and this is the scenario I painted for you. Like, if the 8's going to hook and trap it and you break the low, you can play the short, right? And it's basically going to be down to this pivot. You're right in the middle of the move, right? This was your rally up to there. You're halfway back, and you're on the 20. So if it breaks down with the hooking 8, you're going to play back to that pivot. It's a 50% retracement of this up move holding on the flat 20 with a hooking 8. Once it's past the 8, you're going to play it as continuation and probably get a move like that, which takes you to prior day's close in the 200. Why? Measured move. Garnett, there's that measured move again. Shows up everywhere. So the play, as you're watching it, look how easy this trade was. I mean, it was super simple. So there's your 215, 230-ish. You're waiting. The 8's hooking. All of a sudden, that bar jumps up instead of down, gets above this pivot. Now you just need a confirmation break of the pivot, break of the 8, and it hands you a ribby. Oh my goodness. Look how easy that entry is. I actually could not draw that any more textbook than it is on the chart. Boom. Right there. Bang. It's easy. Takes off. And then it gives you another one. It gives you an add and reduce opportunity. Where's it consolidating? Inside the igniting bar and at the pivot. So when it breaks the high of that bar and takes out the pivot, it's easy. Look at that. That was textbook. Simple trade, dude. Do another one, Devin. And to do another one. My other favorite one that I'm doing now, my wife hates this because I keep doing it to her. Have you seen the one with the ants? Have you seen that one yet? You haven't? Dude, you gotta see it. Do you have a big extended family? If you have a big extended family, this is the funniest commercial you've seen in a long time. If you don't, then you may not get it. But if you have an extended family, all right, then you're gonna love it. If you have an extended family, you will love this commercial. And even if you don't, it's kind of funny, but it means it's funnier if you have extended family. You will totally relate to it. It's a very well done commercial. So I'll let you watch that one, and we'll talk about it next week. All right, guys. That concludes the lunch lessons for the day here. Hopefully, it was helpful, enjoyable, and I'll try to do this the next few weeks here because I do have the teaching gig on Mondays and Fridays right now with my kids. My wife's taking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I will try to give you guys a little bit of extras on Tuesday, Thursday because I don't get the Monday, Friday thing. All right. So hopefully that was a good lesson, helpful, and what it should do. Don't let it frustrate you. Like, why don't I see it like that yet? What I want you to do is, take the comfort if you can follow that type of thinking and it's not totally perplexing to you. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. If you're less than a year in and a lot of that still seemed like I don't get it, that's fine. If you're 2-3 years in, you should at least be able to comprehend everything I just covered. And as long as you're comprehending it in real time and you're answering my questions correctly as I ask them, then you do understand it. Okay? You do understand it. It's just the transition, and it's the hardest step, guys. It's comprehension to application, and that's the hardest part. So if you're not even getting the comprehension right yet, you're probably in your first year. If you're getting the comprehension already and you're less than a year in, great sign. That's quick learning. Okay? So if you're past the year, you should not have a comprehension issue on like every time. There might be a few things here and there like, oh shoot, you know what? I wasn't thinking that way or I wasn't reading that right. But most of what I'm doing and asking and leading you, it should seem like it makes sense. And then it's just a measure of, well, how long before I can apply that in real time like you're doing? I don't have an answer for you on that one. I don't know how long it takes you to apply that. Right? Application is tough. Comprehension, you should get it relatively soon. So this is what I used to do before I had kids. I would do chart lessons like this all the time. And then I started trying to do them on YouTube for a while. I was putting a couple lessons up, and then my wife decided she wanted kids at that very minute. She's like, I want to start a family. That was one day. She just, I want kids. I'm like, what? She just came home from work one day. I want kids. I'm like, okay, relax. Like, you mean right this second? Or like, what are we talking about here? They just, because we had talked about it back and forth, right? On and off. Are we going to start a family? Yes, no, maybe, when? I don't know. Life's pretty good. Do we want to complicate our life? Do we want the commitment? Are we going to be there for them? You know, are we ready to sacrifice our own stuff? Just all the stuff you go through. And we weren't sure. And then one day she just decided without giving me a heads up. She just came home with, I want kids. Oh, all right, relax. It's not like we're going out to buy a car or something. Let's just think it through a little bit. Think it through. Think it through. So anyway, that kind of coincided with when I started doing YouTube lessons, which is why that all went away. Just no time. Starting the family thing just took front and center. Like, you know, everything was just focused right there. So anyway, these are the kinds of things. She hit the bid. Do you want to know who hit the bid? Big Daddy hit the bid. First time we said, all right, we're going to start trying to have kids. That night, doctor pegged the date of conception. I'm like, dude, that was the first day. That was the first day we decided. That's hitting the bid. Right there is how you hit the bid. So I will try to try and then set. Oh my God. 10 months later, do another one. Oh my God. That's awesome. Wait till I tell her that one today. And that's pretty much how it happened too. As soon as the doctor gave her the green light and said, okay, if you guys want to start again, it was like, there it is. Number 2. When we went in and when he checked her and did the test, it's like, wow, you guys took me serious, huh? Like literally the day after I told you.